Welcome to the video lecture series of cryptography and network security. I am your instructor, Dr. Ramesh Prajapati, and today we are going to learn the requirements for hash function. So let's start with today's agenda. The first agenda, requirement for hash function. Second, simple hash function. Third, hash function based on cipher block chaining, and the next is a overview of hash secure hash algorithm. It is also called the SHA. So let's start the first topic, the requirement for hash function. Before starting the requirement for hash function, you know what do you mean by hash function. So hash function it accepts the input of variable length data and produce or generate the fixed length of code, and this fixed length of code is called the hash code or hash value, or we can say that message digest, right? And it applied to any length of the message. Then second, after applying the hash function, it generates the fixed length output, and let's represent the small h. Then it is easy to compute because there is one formula for find the hash code. So the formula is small h equal to capital H of m, and the capital H it represents the hash function, m it represents the message, and the small h it represents the hash code. Means after applying the hash code on the message, it generates the hash code. The next, the given hash value h is infeasible to find y such that h of y equal to h. It is also called the one-way property. It means given hash value h, it is not possible to determine input stream from the output of hash function. This example of one property is a fingerprint. In fingerprint, we can't derive the matching message. In one-way property, it is irreversible of message digest. So, right? One-way property. This example of a one-way property is the one bit is will be flipped in the input stream, and half of the bit in the hash code will be flipped as a result. So this the fourth number requirement of hash function. The next is for given block of x, it is computationally infeasible to find y not equal to x with h of y equal to h of x. It means that if we are considering two different input stream y and x, hash code of y and the hash code of x must be different. So the hash function, the hash of the two different block, it generates the different hash code. Then it is also called the weak collision resistance. Then the last is it is computationally infeasible to find the message m1 and m2 such as h of m1 equal to h of m2. In two different messages, the message digest code must be different. It means the message digest, it means it is called the hash code. It means the two different messages, their hash code or hash value or message digest must be different, or it is also called the strong collision resistance. So the third method, the fourth number method, you can see it is also called the pre-image resistance. The given hash value h is infeasible to find. It is also called the pre-image resistance. The second, it is also called the second pre-image resistance, and the last is called the collision resistance. So these are the basic requirements. If I want to find the hash code, so these are the basic requirement, right? Then the next topic is simple hash function. And if I want to compute the hash function, so there are two possibilities to find the hash function. The first we have required the input. So the input is in a sequence of n bit block. It means that if we are considering a block, the one block is divided into the if we are considering one message, the message is divided into the fixed number of block. Then the input is processed one block at a time in an iterative fashion, and it produce the AND bit hash function, right? Then the next here in a simple hash function, we are performing a bit by bit exclusive XOR of every block, right? And here you can see in this formula C of Ci equal to Bi1 exclusive of Bi2 exclusive or up to so exclusive or Bim. Here the Ci is represent the ith bit. Ci is in the ith bit of the hash code, and it should be the 1 less than equal to I less than equal to n. The second m is the number of AND bit block in the input. Then the Bij at ith bit in the jth block. Bij represent the ith bit in the jth block, and the value of I equal to 1 2 3 4 and value of j equal to also the 1 2 3 4, right? Then this is the simple method to calculate the hash function, right? But here one problem is that it is if our input is different, so based on that input it generates this, or we will get the same hash value in some time. So it is a limitation for simple hash function. So we overcome this problem. We will use the second hash function, and in this second hash function, the perform a 1 bit circular shift or rotation on the hash value after each block is processed. It means the first one we have to apply the shift or rotation, 1 bit circular shift, or we can say that rotation, and after that we have to process each block. Then the procedure can be summarized as follow. There is simple procedure for this calculation of hash function. So the first, initially set the AND bit hash value at 0. It means that initially all hash values should be 0, right? And the second, process each successive AND bit block of data as follow, right? So we are doing some processing on a hash value. So here we rotate the current hash value to left by 1 bit. So the first one we have to apply the left operation, and the left is applied on a 1 bit by bit and rotate the hash value. Then after applying the 1 bit rotation, XOR the block into the hash value. It means after applying the left by 1 bit rotation, we have to perform the XOR block into the hash value. So this is the second method of hash function, and here it is to if I want to find your message is modified or not. So this is the base method. With the help of this second method, we will usually identify if your data should be modified by other people or other person or not. So this is the base method for finding the data integrity. Then next method is called the hash function based cipher block chaining, right? Here we will be using the cipher block chaining, and it is also called the CBC. And here we have this is the one method of a block cipher, right? So the first here we are considering the block cipher, and on the block cipher we are performing the encryption and the decryption. That means in the block cipher our message is divided into the fixed size block, and on that fixed size block we are applying the encryption and the decryption. Then to encrypt first of all I want to decrypt the block cipher. So the first of all we have required two things. First I have to input the block and plain text block, and second is key. Then after applying the encryption, it produces the cipher text block. And as you know, the formula of finding the cipher text is C equal to E of K bracket comma X. It means we are applying the encryption along with the key on a plain text message. After applying the encryption, you will get the cipher text, right? So this is a simple procedure, as you know that, right? Then second, the in your message, the message size is a 64-bit block. It means that in one block we are considered size is a 64-bit, right? Then after we are applying the hash code, right? And we are applying the hash function. And after applying the hash function, it's generating a hash code. And the formula of hash code is equal to h of, it means the small h equal to capital H of m, as the block by block XOR for of all the block, right? Then append the hash code as a final block. It means that if we are performing the block by block operation, so after last block will be generated, we have to append all the hash code, and this is the final hash code, right? Then here you can see in this equation the h, if I want to find the hash code, so my equation is p represent the plain text and the size of the plain text is the 64-bit. Then n plus 1 equal to the p1, the first block of plain text, XOR second block of plain text p2 up to so n p of n. So this is our formula if I want to find the hash code, right? Then if I want to elaborate this plain text into tip, so with the help of CBC mode, means cipher block chaining mode. So that is one again another formula we will see. And second, to encrypt the entire message plus hash code using the cipher block chaining mode, right? So again, after applying the hash code in the encryption with the using the CPC mode, it generates the cipher text block. It means the C1, C2 up to so on Cn plus 1. Right? Then in the CPC mode, it means that in the cipher block chaining mode, the formula is the Cj equal to apply the encryption E bracket k comma Cj minus 1 XOR Pj. It means that here we are considering the value of j is equal to 2, 3 up to so on, and the p equal to the p start from the pi equal to pi. That means the I equal start from the 1, 2, 3, 4 up to so on n. And here Cj minus 1, this is the first block. That means that initially when we will encrypt the first plain text block, so initially we are considering the initialization vector, and initialization vector we are generating a random number in the initialization vector, and the initialization vector on a plain text message we applying the XOR operation with the help of initialization vector. It means that XOR on initialization vector and the first block of plain text message, and after that we applying the encryption. Means we are applying the key with the help of we are applying the encryption along with the key. After that you will get the first block of ciphertext. So here you can see the P1, it means the Pi or P1, the first block of plain text equal to initialization vector XOR apply the encryption on the first block of ciphertext along with the key. So D of k comma C1, so you will get the first block of this is the operation of the first block of plain text. Now if you are considering the Pi, so Pi equal to Ci minus 1 exclusive or D of k comma Ci. It means that if I want to encrypt the second block of plain text, so in a CBC mode, cipher block chaining, if I want to encrypt the first block, then apply the encryption along with the key. After applying the encryption, it generates the first block of ciphertext, and the ciphertext is input to the second block of plain text. So here we can consider Ci minus 1, this is the initialization vector at the first time if I want to encrypt the first block. In the second block it is the Ci, then exclusive or D of k comma Ci. So this is the equation of the Pi. The next if I want to find the P of n plus 1, Pn plus 1, so equal to Cn means n is a number of 0, 1, 2, 3 up to 7, sorry 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 7, and exclusive or d of k comma Cn plus 1. So this is the formula if I want to find the, or if I want to encrypt the Pn plus 1 block. Then the next is, but here you can consider in the previous slide we have seen the Pn plus 1 has the hash code. So again we have to consider the hash code, right? You can see in the previous equation the P or Pn plus 1 equal to P1 exclusive or P2 exclusive or up to 7 Pn. It means that the P1 is the first block of plain text, exclusive or P2 is the second block of plain text, and apply the XOR with number of block. After that, if it means that if I am considering the P1, so what the value of P1? P1 equal to initialization vector. The first time I want to consider the initialization vector, right? Before the first plain text message, if I want to encrypt the first plain text message, so initially I don't have cipher text. So the first of all I have to consider the initialization vector, and in initialization vector we are considering the random number. Right? And it exclusive means initialization vector is exclusive or with a d of k comma C1. Again apply the XOR operation. C1, it is the second first block of ciphertext, XOR d of k comma C2 up to so n y c plus 1 and exclusive or k comma Cn. So this is the formula for finding the Pn plus 1, and with the help of CBC cipher blockchaining mode we will calculate we are going to calculate this. Now I hope you clear this idea, right? Then the next is the overview of a secure hash function. So first of all, why we need SHA? As you know that in the previous two sessions we have considered the hash function. So in hash function we are generating a fixed length of code, and this fixed length of code is called the hash code, hash value, or the message address. So how to generate the fixed length of code? My question is how to generate the fixed length of code. So with the help of secure hash algorithm we will generate the fixed length of code. Right? And here the various algorithms are there, right? And with the help of this algorithm we will find the hash code, or we can say that the fixed length of code, right? Then here we are not using any key, right? And we are not using any encryption and the decryption, right? So there are various SHA algorithm variant. So we will see the one by one. So the first we are considering the SHA1, SHA224, SHA256, SHA384 and SHA512. So why we use this, right? So it means that the size of the block is depend on the output. It means that message digit size, message digit is also called the hash code or hash value. So here we are considering the message digit size, that is our output, right? So based on that our output, it means that our output is 160 bit. We call it as a SHA1. If our output size is 224, so the algorithm is called the SHA224. If our output size is a 256 bit, then we call it as a SHA256. Now finally, if we are considering our output size is our output bit is 512 bit, it means the size we call it as a SHA512. So these are the various types of variant available in a secure hash algorithm, right? So here this is the message digit size, and here in the below row message size. It means that if you are considering SHA1, the message size is less than 2:64. In a SHA224 also same, SHA 256 also same, but in SHA 384 and SHA 512 it is different. It means that we are considering the message size is less than 2:1 128, and the block size, the SHA 1, SHA 224 and SHA 256, the size of the block size is 512. But in SHA 384 and SHA 512, the size of the block size is 1024 bit. Then the next, the word size, if you are considering SHA 1, 224 and 256, the word size is 32 bit, and SHA 384 and SHA 512 we are considering the 64 bit size. The next, the number of steps is required in SHA 1, SHA 224 and SHA 256 is in SHA 1 we are considering the number of steps is 80, SHA 224, SHA 256 the number of steps is required 64, and the SHA 384 and SHA 512 we have required the number of steps is 80. And so this all about the different variant of SHA algorithm, right? Secure hash algorithm. Then here we are considering our input size. The maximum length of the input size of algorithm is less than 2:128, and it produce the output as a 512 bit message digest or message or hash code or hash value. Then the next, the input is processed in a 1024 bit block. It means that we are considering the each and every block. The size of the each and every block is 1024 bit block. So now I hope you clear all the topics of today's session, right? Then and the next lecture we will see the new topic. Thank you.